Hello student, welcome to my class. Today I am going to take class 11th economics. The book name is Statistic for Economics. This is chapter 1 part 2 and the name of the chapter is Introduction to the Concept of Economics and Significance of Statistic in Economics. So let's proceed with this chapter. Already we have completed its first part. In the first part, we discussed the first half of this chapter. We discussed about the introduction to the concept of economics in that. Now in the second part, we are going to discuss about the significance of statistics in economics. So let us proceed with this chapter now. So first and foremost, we are going to see what is statistic. So statistic is any quantitative facts or numerical information which is actually collected through a special method or a technique. So when you collect a numerical fact with a special techniques or method, that is called your statistic, which is actually very important in economics because all the decision in the economy is taken on the basis of statistical fact only. For example, if you want to make an employment policy to remove the unemployment from the country, you need the unemployment statistic. If you want to make a poverty policy to remove the poverty from India, you need a statistic of people below the poverty line. If you want to open a school, you need the statistic of children population. Same way, any economic decision is taken on the basis of statistic only, and that's why statistic is very important. We can understand the statistic in two sense, and that is singular sense and plural sense. So what is statistic in singular and plural sense? So statistic in the singular sense is actually consist of all those methods through which the statistic passes through. The statistic data is actually the data passes through various stages, First you collect the data, then you organize the data, then you present that data, and then you analyze that data, and then you finally interpret from that data. So data is actually passing through various stages. So this all stages are consist in the statistic of singular sense. Then what is statistic in plural sense? See, all this numerical fact, this systematically collected data is now ready to be used, and that is called statistic in a plural sense. So this is what statistic in singular and plural sense. Now let us see the singular sense in little detail. So as I told you, all those stages through which the data is passing is coming under the statistic in singular sense. So we will discuss all the stages through which the data is passing through in little detail. But we are not going to go in that detail because all the stages of the statistic through which the data is passing through is going to be discussed in the latter chapters of your book. The whole book of this year is actually consist of stages of statistical data. In the second and third chapter, you are going to read about the collection of data. Then the second stage is organization of data, which you will discuss in fourth and fifth chapter. Then the third stage is presentation of data, which you are going to discuss in sixth and seventh chapter of this book. Like this, all the stages, all the 5 stages you are going to read in this book itself. The whole book is actually consist about the detailing of stages of statistical data. So the data is actually passing through many stages. The first stage is collection of data. And so we are not going to discuss this in detail because we have further chapters in this. We are going to discuss it in a little, in a brief only. Alright. For example, collection of data is actually when you, first and foremost, what you do, if you want to make have a statistic, you will collect the data. You can collect it from the primary source or from the secondary source through the census method or through a sample method. Then after collecting, you will organize the data either in a frequency table form or a telemarks form or in any other form. You will organize those data. And then comes the third stage where you will present the data. While presenting the data, you can present it in any form. You can present it diagrammatically, you can present it graphically, or you can present it in a tabular form also. And after presentation, it comes the analysis of data. This is stage 4. In analyzing the data, you started analyzing those data and you find out their averages, their mean, median, or their correlation, anything. With any method, you can analyze the data. And after the analyzing of data is completed, the 5th stage comes, and this 5th stage is actually the last stage of your data process, and that is this stage is called interpretation of data. In this, after all this process, you finally come to a conclusion. The conclusion is drawn from the data, or it is given in a final statement form, or it also shows the relationship between the different factors present in the data. So finally the what result is coming from the data, that is interpreted in the stage of interpretation of data. This is the fifth and last stage of data process. Alright, so all these stages through which the data passes, it all comes in the singular sense. Now we will read about the plural sense. So to understand the plural sense statistic, we have to understand its characteristic. So what are the characteristic of statistic in the plural sense? First and foremost is the aggregate of facts. All the data which you are collecting is not a single number. It is in a large number of quantity, because the name itself is plural. Plural means so many. So you have so many numerical facts in this. So you have the aggregates of facts and not a single number. Alright, and then it is numerically expressed. The second characteristic is it is numerically expressed. You don't express them in quality form, like this is small or a big, this is fat or a thin. This way you don't express the data. You express it in a number form, 30 or 40 or 55. In the number you express anything. Alright, and then you also have the characteristic of multiplicity of causes. What is multiplicity of causes? Multiplicity of causes means for a factor, there can be so many causes behind it. So many causes behind one factor can be present. For example, if a price has increased, why the price has increased? So there can be so many factors behind it, like the price has increased because the supply has decreased, or the price has increased because the demand has increased, or the price has increased because the taxes from the government has increased, or the prices has increased because the wages of the labor employed to produce that product has increased. So there can be many reasons, many causes behind a factor, and all those multiplicity of cause is discussed in statistics. And then another characteristic of your statistic in plural sense is reasonable accuracy. That is what? That is means your data, whatever data you are collecting, it should be accurate. You should see to it that the process is accurate and the result is accurate, so that the conclusion which will be drawn from it can be accurate. And accuracy is very much needed, and this accuracy actually depends upon so many things, like it depends upon the purpose of your investigation or the resources available to you through which you can collect the data. So all these things decide the accuracy of data, and reasonable accuracy is definitely needed in a statistic in plural sense, and it is one of the important characteristic of statistic in plural sense. Then the another characteristic is the data which you are collecting, it should be mutually related and comparable data. For example, if you are collecting the data that Ram is of 40 kg, Sam is of 50 year, and Mohan is of 6 feet tall, when these data are not at all related to each other. For one person you collected their weight, and another person you collected his height, and for another person you collected his age. So how can this data can be compared and related to each other? They are not at all related. So when you collect the data, you should see to it that they are mutually related with each other and they can be comparable. So this way the data is being collected, and that is one of the characteristic of data. Another characteristic of data in plural sense is predetermined objective. See, whenever you are going to collect the data, there should be an objective for collection. You just don't go and collect the data without any objective. You need something, and that's why you go and collect that data. So the objective should be cleared beforehand. And also you should also decide which method you will use, enumerated method or the estimated method. What is enumerated method? When you go to each and every person and collect the data, that is enumerated. And estimated, when you don't go to each and every person. Suppose if the school is there, you are going in one class and collecting the data from that class and you are estimating that if this class is feeling this way, the other rest of the class must be feeling in the same way. So that is called estimated, means you are not collecting data from whole class but from a sample. So that is called your estimated method. So what method you are going to follow? Are you going to follow the enumerated method or the estimated method? Enumerated methods are generally followed in an area which is small, where you can go to each and every person, but estimated method is good for the area which is quite a big one and you cannot go to each and every person, and that in that condition you use the estimated method. So you can use the enumerated method or the estimated method in the statistic of plural sense. Now another characteristic of statistic in plural sense is that data should be collected in a systematic manner. So when you are going to collect the data, you just don't go without any plans. You have to make a plan what you are going to collect, how you are going to collect, from where you are going to collect. All these plans should be made beforehand so that the data you collect is accurate one. So that is also one of the important characteristic of statistic and plural sense. We should remember that the data should be collected in a proper way so that it become an accurate data and accurate conclusion can be drawn from it. Another thing is to remember is that all the numerical data is not a statistic, but definitely all the statistic is a data, but any number you are collecting is not a statistic actually. So all numerical data is not a statistic, but statistic is definitely a data. Alright, so with this we completed the characteristic of statistic. Now we are going to see the scope of statistic. See, the scope of statistic is actually consists of three things. First one is nature of statistic, second one is subject matter of statistic, and third one is limitation of statistic. Alright, so what is nature of statistic and subject matter of statistic and limitation of statistic we will discuss one by one. First we will discuss the nature of statistic. See, the nature of the statistic is in this, you decide whether the statistic is a science subject or it is a art subject. See, the statistic is a science subject because in science you have the systematic manner, and same way in a systematic manner you collect the numerical data in statistic. So science systematic manner is followed in statistic also, and so you can say the statistic is a science. But at the same time it is also an art. What is art? When you apply your knowledge to solve the day-to-day problem, that is an art. And same way in statistic also, you apply the statistical knowledge to solve the real life problems like unemployment, poverty and other things. So it is also an art. So you can say that statistic is a science as well as it is an art. With this, we have completed the first part of scope of statistics, that is nature of statistics. Now we will go to the second part of the scope of statistics, that is your subject matter of statistics. So what is subject matter of statistics? It actually consists of two components. First one is your descriptive statistic. What is descriptive statistic? In the descriptive statistic, you actually refer to the methods. All the methods which you use for the collection, for the presentation and for the analyzing of data comes under the descriptive statistic. So all the method you are using for all these three stages, it comes under the descriptive statistic. And the various methods are used, like you use the central tendency method of mean, median, etc. You also use the measurement of depression like mean deviation, standard deviation, etc. And also you use the measurement of correlation. So all these methods are actually used to collect the data, present the data and analyze the data, and all this method comes under the descriptive statistic. The another component of the subject matter of statistic is your inferential statistic. So what is inferential statistic? When you collect, organize, analyze and present the data, after that finally what do you need? You need to interpret the data. So whatever the method you are using to bring out the conclusion from the data is coming actually under the inferential statistic. And the conclusion which you are drawing out of the data, it can be a universal or it can be a part of the universe, or part of a universe or a particular unit. For example, the conclusion can be applied either to the whole population or it can be applied to a particular unit of population. So it can be in any way. So with this, we have completed the subject matter of statistics. Under the scope of statistics, we have already completed the nature of statistics and subject matter of statistics. Now we will move to the limitation of statistics, which is the third part of the scope of statistics. And with the completion of limitation of statistics, we will complete the scope of statistics. So what is the limitation of statistics? There are so many limitations, like it's only giving importance to the numerical fact, the quality like hard working, the quality like honesty. All these things have no value in statistics. At the same time, you only give importance to the aggregate value, and the particular unit value is not at all considered in statistics. Another disadvantage or limitation of statistics is homogeneity of data. When you try to maintain the homogeneity in data, the data of diverse quality is not at all considered. For example, if the homogeneity is maintained, means all the data should be in a same manner, and it should be related. So if you apply this principle, suppose you are collecting the production of wheat, then it has no relation with the production of sugarcane or production of cotton. So when you give so much importance to homogeneity of data, the diverse data loses its importance under statistics. The another limitation of statistics is the result, which is coming in averages. And so when the results are coming in the averages, it not apply to each and every units. For example, if you find out the class average of maths in a particular class, the average marks for mathematics is 50. But it is not true for each and every students, right? Because there must be some students who must have scored more than 90, and there must be some students who have scored less than 35. So all of them are all the individual particular units are ignored, and only the average of the whole class is shown, which is actually correct for the class but not for a particular unit or each and every unit. The another limitation of statistics is that if you don't refer the circumstances in which the data are being collected, then you cannot come in a proper conclusion. For coming into a proper conclusion, you also need to see the circumstances and condition which were prevailing while collecting the data, and that will give you a right conclusion. And if you ignore it, the wrong conclusion can be drawn from it. The another limitation of the statistics are that it can be used only by the expert, because you are using very different techniques and method which can be understood by the expert itself. For the common people it become actually difficult to use such a complicated process. So statistic is only good for the expert to analyze. The another problem of the statistic is the limitation is that sometimes the conclusion which is drawn, it is misleading conclusion. For example, if you have the set of 10, 20, 30 and another set of 20, 20, 20, then for both the set the average is 20 only. But there is so much of difference in set A and set B, and that is ignored. For example, in a place, if the one person is earning 500 rupees, another person is earning 5,500 rupees, the average will come to 3,000. But in another place, if one person is earning 3,000 and another person is also earning 3,000, there also the average will come to the 3,000 only. But what is happening? The differences, inequality in the society is being ignored while finding the averages. See, there was so much of differences and inequality in the first situation where the one was earning only 500 rupees and another was earning more than 5,500 he was earning. So this is giving actually a wrong, misleading answers to you, because in every place in 3,000 when both the people were earning 3,000, there also the average is 3,000. In another place where the one person is earning 500 and another is earning more than 5,000, that is 5,500, there also the average is 3,000. So it is only giving the average and misleading you. It is actually not showing the differences in the society, which is present in the first situation and not in the second. And that's what make its answer little misleading. So these are the limitation of statistic. With the limitation of statistic, we completed our scope of statistic. In the scope of statistic, we studied about the nature of statistic, the subject matter of statistic and the limitation of statistic. Now let us complete the last topic of this chapter, and that is the function and importance of statistic. See, the statistic is very important because it expresses the things in a quantitative form, and when you express the things in a quantitative form, you actually shows the magnitude of a problem. For example, if unemployment is there, in number you will show them how much unemployment is there. If you are expressing that okay, poverty is there, in number if you will express the poverty, you will see show to everyone that how much poverty is there. So when you numerically express anything, no, you express the magnitude, the extent of that problem, and that is a good quality of statistic. Also, the statistic help you in the intersectoral and intertemporal comparison. What is intersectoral comparison? It is in this, no, you can compare the two sectors. Either you can compare the rural sector and urban sector, or you can compare the agriculture sector with the industrial sector. And another side, you can have the intertemporal comparison also. What is intertemporal comparison? You can compare the time. For example, the production of wheat before Green Revolution and production of wheat after Green Revolution can be compared. So in the on the basis of time also you can compare the two times if you are expressing this in statistical form. Alright, you can compare the development of India before British rule and development of India after British rule. Alright, so this way you can compare the statistic, help you to compare the two sector, statistic help you to compare the two time period also. So it help you in intersectoral and intertemporal comparison. The another function of statistic is that it study about the cause and effect relationship. For example, this effect has come because of so many causes, and that causes you will study under when you study the statistic, and you will understand the reason or causes behind a problem. And when you understand the causes behind the problem, you can solve that problem. For example, if the government is coming to know that the investment has decreases because the demand has decreases, then the government should take the step. The government should make a policy to increase the demand so that the investment can also be increased. So when you understand the cause effect relationship, no, you take a proper decision to remove it. The another important function and importance of statistic is the construction of economic theory and economic model. So many economic theory, economic models are actually formed out of the studies of statistics. See, when you make the price and demand theory, no, you did not just made a price and demand theory by sitting and experiencing. You have taken the statistical data, you have compared the statistical data so many times, you have analyzed the statistical data so many times, and then you make a theory or model of economic after analyzing the statistical fact many times. So this statistic help in forming various theory and model of economics. And beside this, statistics also help in forecasting the future. See, this is not like astrological prediction which Panditji used to do. It is actually the prediction or the forecasting on the basis of analyzing the statistics. For suppose if the price of a good has increased to 1% in January, then another 1% in February, then another 1% in March, then in April also you can forecast, you can predict that yes, this price is going to again increase to more 1% like it increased in past. So this statistic is actually helping you to forecast the future action of economics. So this is also an important function of statistic. Another important function of statistic is formulation of policy. Statistics do help to make many policy. Planning Commission make their planning on the basis of statistic. Finance Minister take decision on the basis of statistic. For example, if the Finance Minister want to increase the taxes, he has to see what is the tax paying capacity of the individual or what is the revenue demands of the government. So analyzing those statistics, they will make a policy. So to make a big policy, you need a statistic, and that statistic help you in making various policy. The last functions of and the importance of statistics is economic equilibrium. What is economic equilibrium? It is actually the balance between producer and consumer. So when the equilibrium is achieved by the producer, when it get maximum profit, and when the equilibrium is achieved by the consumer, when it obtain the maximum satisfaction. So this economic data, this statistical data, this research analysis help you to achieve the economic equilibrium. So this all are actually the importance function of the statistic, and this shows that statistic is really significant in economics, and we should study the statistic as a part of economics. So with this, we have completed this chapter. I hope you understand this chapter. If you understand this chapter, please like, share and subscribe MP Social View. Thank you students. Thanks for watching and happy learning.